Rise and shine, and welcome to the ASOM experience. I am so honored and full of bliss to receive today my first guest. You may guess this person has been with me for actually quite a journey. We've met, basically, it was over a year ago, but it felt like we've met ages ago. I am extremely happy and fortunate and full of gratitude to have her with me. Now you know that she's an amazing woman. She's been through so many places. She's traveled around the world. She's lived over different continents. She's a person who's born with magic. She has a life force activation and she works with trauma integration, dance, art, therapy, training, and retreats. One of her last stops was in South America. She was in Guatemala during the pandemic, healing people through dance, through different retreats. After that, she was in Mexico, and right now she's back to her motherland in the Netherlands. She's today one of my best friends. She's become my family soul. Um, she's also my amazing ex-partner, and I'm gonna jump to announce that today I am so happy to be with Rose Ayuna, who is attending the very first podcast on the ASOM experience. Welcome, Rose. How are you feeling today?
Oh, I feel so touched by your super beautiful introduction. My heart is like, oh, yeah, I feel really seen and grateful for you in my life and for being here. And I'm super excited. Yeah.
Amazing. You are so welcome. Thank you for taking the time and thank you for bringing your magic as usual. You always show up in your fullest. And I'm thanking you in advance for all the listeners who are joining us,
Mm,
whether it's on Spotify or on YouTube or any other platform. We are so grateful for you to
mm,
be here. Thank you again, Rose.
yeah.
So as you know, this interview goes for around an hour more or less, and I've got a list of questions, and it's really very, you know, flow wise. We're gonna start with the first question. So just a brief intro. What is your story and why are you here today?
Hmm. What is my story? Yeah, that's a good question. My story of my life. The whole story. It's a long story, huh?
It's a very long story. Let's say you've met someone and, you know, with your story, you can save their life and you have 5 to 10 minutes to share your story. What, what would that be?
Okay. um, yeah, I grew up in the Netherlands with mostly with my mother, and we moved a lot through the country. We moved a lot around from a very young age, so I learned to be in many different places. And for me, as a child, that worked quite well. Somehow, I was very easy in adapting to new places, making new friends, and yeah, just starting all over again in a new place. So that is maybe something I already had in me, or maybe something that I learned. That's always the question, I think. But it went well for me as a child. But of course, there's also a downside to it, that I was never really solid in one place. So a lot of moving around. Yeah, my mother, she was very sick from young age. So she had a lung transplant, I think 7 years ago now. And 6 or 7 years, I think I lost count. But yeah, it was very intense. She nearly died. So I took care of my mother for a long part of my life. And she also struggled a lot with addiction. So it was intense. If you look at my
Mhm.
life from a paper, you would think, whoa, like it's a pretty intense story. And yeah, also through all of this, I built a very strong connection with my mother, and I'm now actually also in her house, so it feels like, yeah, it feels interesting. Come back here after traveling. Usually come back here first, and then I go again to my own place, like, which I don't have out my own house right now, but I just always come back to my mother, and then I go and, yeah, find my own house for temporary in the Netherlands. And yeah, what would I say about if I have a short time to tell someone about my life? Well, one thing that I learned through all of this is that it's so important to enjoy life to the fullest. If there's
Mm.
one thing that I stand for, it is that. It is that to really celebrate every moment as much as we can, and to see the lessons of why our life happens the way it does. There is a part that I see as karma, as we all get lessons in life and they are different for each person, and we have to work with this, whatever it is, whatever it is that's been given. And there's also a part that we are the creator of our lives, and that we have influence and that we have power. And this is also what I've learned through all of this that I've been through. And yeah, just to see how can I make the best of it, even though things are hard, because they were not easy when I was younger. And I always had this mindset of like, I am gonna really do things differently. I had this like energy, this positive spirit, and still there, and made me travel all around the world, and start my own business, and yeah, just grow, like really this passion to grow. This is something always in me, this desire to grow as a soul, as a human, and to really connect to myself, to God, to life, to something bigger, and to the people around me, to the world. I was so curious, like, what else is there in the world? It's also what
Love
made
it.
me travel. Yeah, it's also what made me travel. Like, I just was so curious. I always had the desire, but I felt like I want to first finish my studies. So I did two studies, in the field of like therapy and helping people with psychology and things like that. And then after a lot of alternative studies, but those were like the main, yeah, like regular studies here. And I pushed myself so much to finish them because I wanted to finish it. But deep inside, I was like, I couldn't wait to travel the world. Yeah.
I totally hear you on that. Like this was one of the reasons we actually met. It was through that. I think it's that itch, that hunger, that thirst to, to travel and to meet, well, of course, meet the world, but more so meet ourselves through that journey of exploration and discovery. So once again so fortunate to have met you. I would say on the route, that was such a, yeah. I think it was really such an amazing way to meet, and forever grateful for that. Once again, thank you, Rose, for being here today. I know it was a little bit challenging the last few days, but showing up is highly appreciated. So thank you for your story. It really gives like the listeners, an insight on your background, and thank you for being open and honest sharing that. Um, maybe a very quick question there, and your mornings. I know we all have different morning rituals, and our mornings are so different, but like, what motivates you to wake up in the morning? What really pulls you out of bed?
Mm, yeah, that's a beautiful question. Um, yeah, I do feel like sharing one thing, if I may, which you just said. The last few days were a little bit intense. Can I say
Please.
something about that?
Absolutely. You're all welcome.
Yeah, I really love bringing in out this authenticity. This is something I really stand for. And I was feeling like I lost someone that I
Mm,
knew quite well and was a big part of the community that I'm in. And yeah, it brought up so much about losing someone, about death and mourning, and just this energy. This has been big influence this last week. And yeah, I was feeling all the sadness came out because the day before was a funeral and ceremony. It was the most beautiful funeral ceremony I've ever witnessed, with beautiful flowers and colors and music and people doing poems and doing live music and spoken word. And I was dancing as well. And it was like an art like honoring. I've never seen such a thing. That was just something I want to share, that it hopefully maybe it can inspire people, that if ever someone loved one dies, that this can be a way to really celebrate their life, which is so special. I was so touched. So I just wanted to share that I was, yeah, I've been through that. And also that yesterday I was feeling so sad, and there was a part of me like, oh, I can't do the interview because I have to show up with so much positivity, and I wanted to be a certain way, and I was working through these beliefs, and I contacted you. And I love how you always like question, you know, you don't just accept it. You're like, okay, yeah, we can reschedule, but you're also like, but yeah, you're also really welcome the way you are. And it was so beautiful. And I was like, wow, yeah, you're right. And you were like, it's full moon. And I also said to you, yeah, I'm bleeding, so I'm more sensitive. And you're like, yeah, that's even more beautiful. Like you're so connected, and you can just bring in all of you. And just wanted to say this because this is something I really stand for. And I know you as well, that we are doing this with our full selves, with everything that is there. And this is how we can live life as well, bringing in everything. And it's beautiful that to see that when everything is allowed to be here, then things change and transform quickly as well. Because with that energy and that knowing, I was like, oh, I can just let go. I don't need to perform or do anything different and just be me. And then I woke up feeling so chill and so excited. And yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Wow, amazing. I'm extremely grateful. Like, you know, I do feel sometimes, you know, the effect that I have on people around me, especially like loved ones, family, you know, friends, and you are in my family circle, like in my soul family, and whenever things happen like this, when you talk about questioning, and um, sometimes it's just like the slightest shift in perspective. You know, if you move just a few inches and then you see it
Yeah.
from a different angle, then you would be like, oh yeah, well, this is actually an invitation, you know.
Yeah.
This is actually an opportunity, because it's so easy to say no. It's so easy to postpone, you know, to procrastinate.
Mm.
And I'm talking about myself, like I've been doing this forever, you know. And right now I'm like, you know, there's always this self-talk, this like, no, no, don't go there again, you know. So going back to mornings, you know,
Yes.
and taking
Yes.
like your story, which you, thank you for sharing as well. And this person is so dear. And I also had like um, the privilege and the chance to a little bit cross her path without having met her. But what would you say? I mean, by having this level of you know, living in joy and living in light, would this be a way of you to transform your mornings? Would this be a way of you to actually within, with that level of awareness and this, you know, work that you've been doing, does this really motivate you? You know, is this the main key or the main factor for you to feel motivated in the morning? You know, how does this translate for you once you open your eyes and you're like, I'm ready?
Mm. Yeah, what motivates me in the morning is yeah, usually it's dance.
Beautiful.
Dance is
Okay.
my biggest passion, so I get really activated when I put on music and I start dancing, and usually it's belly dance.
Yes.
It makes me so happy. And yeah, usually the first moment I'm just stretching, and honestly I am also a lot of times on my phone in the morning, which is not the best morning
Hmm.
routine. And then after I go dance, but I do feel that that would be really good for me to do more, like really straight go to music and write or something like this to have a better morning practice. Because honestly, I don't have a very strong morning practice. It's a little bit different every day, which is good. I think it doesn't have to be the same, but to go straight to my phone is not very good, I think. And the days that I don't do it, I feel a bit more connected to myself, because I feel like when I just wake up, the energy is really like so deep and soft, and it's kind of a transition from dream world to the human world. And at that time, I think it's also really good to get really clear with our intention for the day and with our heart. And yeah, I feel like there's also I was it's a bit of an excuse, but I was traveling so much, and then I find it even harder to create that like foundation. But even then, it should be possible, and it's actually more important even. So it's a good one to take with me. Now I'm here, I have some things that I want to change. I want to be more organized in my life, and
Okay.
that's a big one. Yeah. That's one of the intentions also for me coming here back to the Netherlands for now, and to have a better morning routine. Yeah, but I'm usually dancing, like whenever I'm out of bed, I put on music, or I'm going outside for a walk in nature. Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm sure for those who know you already, they've seen like how much dance is part of your life, and truly it is. I mean, life is basically a whole dance, right? And it depends on how we're. So yeah, we'll definitely jump back into this, and I feel like we all have this one, you know, one definitely more, but turning points, these aha moments. And this happens usually at a younger age. So for you, maybe you've
Mhm.
mentioned it before, maybe something that was related to your family or childhood, but what was one of your, aha moments? I'm sure you've had many, but if there's one that you want to share, and it can be through your traveling, it can be through anywhere, anything. Yeah. What would it be, and how would this actually, like, how did this change your life? And basically, by changing your life, it changed the life of many people around you. So
Mm, yeah. One moment that I remember really well is, well, first one that comes up now is actually when my mother was very sick. She was in coma. She was in sleep, and yeah, on the ICU on a breathing machine. And I was here in this house also, and I was sitting in the garden, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, I think, and I was feeling so much trust. I was feeling so connected to something bigger, to spirits,
Mhm.
to um, something guiding me and her. And there was a kind of a knowing that she would make it, even though the doctors told me that she was going to die and she had a few days left. It was literally told to me, go arrange the funeral. And everyone around me was like, you're in denial. But I had this feeling so deep that was so clear, like, no, she will make it. And there was one moment where I could hear my voice inside, or my connection to something bigger, louder than anything else, which made me trust there is something more. This was so clear, and it happened. And she woke up. I went to the hospital, and she woke up. And then after that, a week later, so she got her lung transplant, and she got donor lungs. She was saved by this amazing soul who offered his lungs to her. And it's just incredible. It's so incredible. And so many moments actually in this period. Her illness brought so many gifts, because yeah, I felt so connected to something bigger. That was one moment. And then also one moment, it's just somehow these memories come up now, because they were in my the younger years, where I was also so sad, and I was crying so much on the couch, and I was like a total emotional mess. I was crying in my ex-partner's arms, and just crying, crying,
Mm.
crying. think, you know, feeling that she wasn't there, because for months she was also already in the ICU. So she was on medication and not really, you know, her normal self. So just missing my mother, and not like, even though there was this knowing, also not knowing for sure. But there were also moments I was like lost, and then somehow it clicked. I had this moment where I was like, what would she want me to do right now? And then I was like, she would want me to enjoy life. Like, she
Wow.
would want me to celebrate life. And I just put on Bob Marley.
Best, the best. Okay.
And I was dancing in the house. And then I decided next day I'm going to the sauna. And of course, there was a
Oh,
little bit of melancholy, like feeling of like, oh, she's suffering and I'm happy. But I really had this moment where I think it was a big decision for the rest of my life, because I still feel it very strong today. That same when now my friend died, you know, like I feel like even more reason to celebrate. And some people are like,
mm,
what? Huh? You know, but yeah, life is so precious. And you realize it when people around you die, when people around you are very sick. You get it so in your face. Like, unfortunately, oftentimes we have to get these super hard messages before to realize, you know, and I had those very young. So it's beautiful that thank you that I'm able to share this, because I don't talk about it so much. And I think sometimes, I think people that follow me and they don't know my whole story, I get sometimes messages from people like, oh, you're so positive, but, you know, or they get a little bit triggered by it because they think maybe I'm just lucky or something. But no, there's a story behind it.
I
So
have,
yeah, whoever's listening, yeah, you can do it too. Like, that's the one thing I really want to say. Like, whatever you're going through, there's a way to work through this and to see the other side as well.
thank you. Wow, I must confirm you are not only lucky, you are blessed, Rose, and we are blessed to have you here to share your story, to speak your voice, and to walk your talk, actually. This is amazing. Like I've seen you in the last 2 years, how much you've grown, and you know, I can also, you know, see just see your journey has been amazing. And a big shout out to your mom, your mother, your precious mother, who I have had also the fortune to meet. She's an amazing woman. She's full of magic. Wow, a healer is the least I can say. Thank you to her. Thank you to her for you being here. Actually, really sending her love and healing and health, because without her we would not be here. So as simple as that. So once again,
That's so true. Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing
thanks,
always authentically.
mothers.
And I'm sure the listeners are extremely curious, but please, if you want to find Rose, Rose is available on Instagram and many other platforms. She has her own website. I will also tag you, I'll also share the links, everything. But from now, go ahead, rose.ayuna is her Instagram. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your
Yeah.
Instagram username. So yeah, I will definitely share more. So yeah, you definitely have to follow Rose if you want to learn more about, you know, what she works around with, or all her journey and story. Um, I'm gonna move on to the next question. Are you ready for that one? I'm giggling inside of me
Yeah.
because this is an exciting one. Okay, so what would Rose advise her younger self? So
Oh, wow.
let's say you're back in your, you know, early 20s or late teen
Wow.
age. What would you advise yourself?
Wow. Yeah, it's a beautiful question. Mm, yeah, I feel that mm, I was working really hard, like really hard, um, trying to keep all balls up in the air, I would say. That's a saying in Dutch. I don't know if it's also in English, but yeah, like, so I would say like, just relax a little more, girl.
Mm.
Like, you don't need to do all that so hard. Like, what are you trying to prove? There's no need to prove yourself. You can just be yourself. You're already good enough.
Yes.
And you are doing so many things, which is amazing. But how can you allow yourself to relax a little bit more and trust that life will take care of you, and you don't need to figure it out right now. You don't need to figure it all out right now.
You can see me smile actually. For those who are on Spotify, I'm sorry, you will not see that, but I have this big smile because wow, I feel so so touched by your words, and like this is exactly the advice that I would see you tell yourself, you know, and many of us, you know, one of Alan Watts' quotes, I'm quoting him here, is that, you know, we take life too seriously, especially what gods have made, you know, as for fun, you know, we, yeah, and just by doing so, we just need to prove. I feel like there's that need to prove to the world that we are enough. You know, we are here because we need to stay, we need to survive. There's this survival mechanism around us, whether it's to our community, whether it's to our, you know, colleagues, family. There's this competition, and I see this contest that's happening right now. It's crazy on you know, on all the social platforms. You know, people are competing, but around what? You know, like
Yeah.
really ask yourself, what are you competing around? If the only competition you can have is with yourself, start
Yeah,
with that.
exactly.
Start with that, and I promise you will have enough competition to work on until the rest of your life. You know, and I want to make it, yeah, I really want to make a special episode on that. I'm sorry, Rose, I'm just talking about something a little bit different, but
No,
um
it's
you
beautiful.
know, there's an episode that I will record soon, and it's called "We Don't Care." Like literally, we don't care. You know, and by we don't care, it's not being, you know, mean, or it's not being you know, careless in the way, you know, it's defined. It's more by saying to others like, stop trying to prove anything. We don't care. You know, the only thing I care about is myself, how I'm feeling. Well, that would be number one. And when I'm around others, it's how I'm feeling around others, how I
Yeah.
am around them, you know. But we forget about that. We think that we are the center of everything, and we think that, you know, it's all about us. So that's why I need to continuously prove things to others.
We're
So
so
no.
cute. I think we're humans are so cute. Like, literally, I think everybody has this, that feeling of like when you enter the room, that people looking at you, well, everybody's actually looking and thinking about themselves.
Yes. Totally, totally, you know, and the mind starts like, oh, now she's looking at me and she's thinking this and that, or he's looking and he's, you know, why do we go so much into that, you know, judgment or trying to understand things? But yeah, I just had to bring this up because it's been lingering in me for a while, and I really want to talk about it. So, what do you tell me more? What do you think about that? Like, what else do you want to share? I'm sure you've got plenty of things to.
About this subject
Yes, about
of
this subject. Like,
proving ourselves.
how is it for you? Like, because you show up fully. Like, you are one of the rarest people I know who show up fully, like fully. You know, and for those who have not seen you, once again, quick reminder: Rose.Ayuna. Check her Instagram. So, what's your
Yeah.
advice? What? Yeah.
Well, I think there's already too much, too much mask going on. So much, we're all having mask. I'm not saying I don't have it. I'm sure I have moments that I put on too,
Mm,
mask. but I'm trying to catch myself when I do it. Like I really train myself to be aware of that and to be as authentic as possible, you know, because yeah, it feels the best, first of all, to be just real. And yeah, I think it's also because I have less and less this feeling that I need to be someone else. Like I used to have it a lot more, where I was comparing and especially putting people above me or below me. I think this is a very common
Mm,
thing. It's like it's the ego, and it's the same coin, other side. You know, it's either I am amazing, better than this person, further, more wiser, more beautiful, whatever,
mm,
or oh, I'm less beautiful, I'm less smart, I'm less far, I'm less wise. And it's all this, you know. And then when I notice myself do it, it's becoming less and less. I'm immediately like, no, it's not necessary. You know, I just talk to myself and talk to my inner child. I think it's very important that we have a connection with
mm,
our inner child, with our inner girl and our inner boy, and who's actually just really scared and really wants to be loved. And that's underneath all that, you know, like I'm better or I'm less, or there's just this little child who's like, oh, can I just please be loved, and can I be included, and can I be part of all of this? Because deep inside, I feel that's what we all want. We all want to be loved, we all want to be connected. And there's a part of us that is an animal, you know, we are also
mm,
an animal, and we are a herd animal, and we need to be part of a group. And when we are, that's what we're constantly checking, you know, that's the survival system. It's like, am I part of this group? Am I good enough? Can I match this? And we actually already are. We don't need to do anything for that, but we still have that conviction that goes way back, that where we really had to survive. We're not, most of us are not living in that situation anymore. Most of us don't have to literally survive, but some, well, I don't even know if I can say that. Maybe most of the world actually is still surviving, because there's still many people in very poor circumstances. So realizing I'm saying that's also my privilege talking, because I grew up in a very wealthy country. But let's say most Western people, most educated, like, how do you say that, westernized people, right?
mm,
I guess we have that privilege, and we can, you know, step out of survival living, let's say it like that. We have the potential to not be like that anymore, and to let go of, like, oh, we actually are already covered, we got food, we got a roof, we have you know, health, we have each other. uh, what else do we need? You know, we are, all the basic things are covered, and then we can relax, you know, and we
mm,
can be with each other, and don't have to be so much else. But that system, that primal energy is still present, and I can also not deny it, you know, like to say, oh, we just have to kind of dismiss it, is also not working, because it's part of us, so we have to include it. So really allowing it to be there also, but not letting it lead. So when, that's like, for example, how I would do it, if I would enter a room and I can see like this mechanism going on, like, oh, you're scanning everything and everyone, I just say to myself, like, okay, yeah, I see you, I see you, little Rose, and I see what you're doing. You just want to feel safe, you want to feel part
mm.
of it, and it's okay, you are welcome, I love you, you're safe. This is what I do. So I'm not like, oh, don't have these feelings. No, I'm like, it's okay. And then I can relax. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm relaxed, I'm safe. Self-parenting.
Wow, I love it that you brought up the topic of like our inner child and how to see him or her, and especially in these different situations. And I think this is the road to, you know, any type of healing and growth, is to really go back and connect within, and within starts with, you know, the beginning, and where was that beginning from. So yeah, it goes back, it really goes back. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic. This is, I feel like this is a whole episode as well to talk about and to discuss inner child and that type of work. And I would love to have this also maybe another time in the future. I will be honored again to have you another time for another episode. So I'm just booking you from now again. So thank you again. Thank you again. And I'm going to jump to our fifth question. So, what was one of the most vulnerable experiences? It could have been failure, it could have been shame, I don't know, depression,
Mhm.
anything that felt
Mhm.
really so vulnerable for you. And if I may, I know this is the type of question that you already discuss and openly share through your authenticity. So I would love you to also bring that up with us.
Wow. Oh, there's so many. So I'm like, which one is the most vulnerable? Hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. The first thing that comes up is in terms of like some very there's so many things that come up and like going through my relationships and how I opened myself there in many ways. And also I'm thinking of an experience in Peru where I was having a lot of fear feelings. So should I just share a little shortly both?
Yes,
Because I feel like
please,
both are
please.
different
You
and
are welcome. Thank you. Please, please.
okay, so when I was in Peru, I went there for my final project for my study to work with children that were living on the streets mostly, and their parents were not there, and it was yeah, very poor circumstances. And I went there, and I first of all I was sick a lot because the children they were like on the street, right? So they were having barely any health, barely any good health, and also I came from a Western country, from the Netherlands, and I wasn't used to being with this bacteria. Also, so I was sick like all the time and really
Mm,
sick, you know. And but I kept. I was like, okay, staying in bed for one day, trying to recover, go back there, you know, and I was doing that for 6 weeks. And at the same time, something really big transformed inside me. I think it was the start of my spiritual awakening. And I started having panic attacks. I don't know if it's that. It felt more like really strong panic feelings when I was in bed. I had the feeling that I couldn't breathe. I had the feeling like I'm gonna die, you know, like my breath is gonna end, my heart is gonna stop. And I got this really paranoid thoughts like you know, I could smell a fire because there was like this little city and they were burning in the evening, they were making fires. It was really cold. And I felt like, oh, maybe the house is going to burn, the hotel is going to burn. I was staying in this little local hotel. I thought maybe they're going to burn the hotel or something. I had these really weird thoughts, and I never had this before in my life. So I was for the first time understanding what people go through that have really anxiety and fear and like this to this degree. And I was really like scared of like death, scared of death. So that was super vulnerable. And I was calling to my mom and I was with a friend and to also my partner who was in the Netherlands at the time that I had, but nobody really understand me. Like I think my partner understood me a little bit because he had a psychosis, I think that's called in English. So
mhm,
he went a little bit through like having a lot of weird thoughts, and you could say it's also a spiritual awakening, but like from a psychological perspective, it's also being super confused. So they're both simultaneously true, and yet this was also happening to me. I feel so it was like there was so much happening, and like sometimes when you're awakening spiritually it feels like you're dying literally because a part of you is dying, your ego is dying, a part of your ego dies. So I had no idea what's happening, I didn't understand, but this was happening, and I was so scared. And somehow I was in that for like 5 or 6 weeks, like almost every day, so it was quite intense. And I think also because I was having height sickness because it was high in the
mm,
mountains. So it was also making me a little bit in a trip and the whole thing. And then after I left there, it was gone. And um, yeah, it was super interesting. Like this whole period, I learned to really carry myself, because even though I was with so many people, nobody really understood what was going on inside me. And even while I was explaining so much, they didn't really know. You know, it was like they were like, "Oh, aren't you overreacting? And just breathe," you know. But it feels so intense in those moments that you don't know what to do. It's like, and I'm sure many people have this kind of experiences where panic takes over. And I learned to be there for myself and to really connect, and started doing like breathing meditation and really slowing down and connecting with my heart. That was the first moments that I felt like this connection with myself. So yeah, that's probably the most vulnerable, I think, that yeah.
Mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, and especially for so many listeners who are or who have been, through, that path of spiritual awakening. And it's true. I mean, you've mentioned at one point you said that when we go through these moments, there is definitely, a big invitation for us to open to open our eyes, but our inner eyes, and to see clearly that life is the most spectacular, things in the world. I would say it is spectacular, and I've been feeling this also lately whenever I'm driving, long distance, or whenever I'm, with myself completely connected, and just I start wandering in my mind and being like, how could this be so full of, amazement, I just like, I don't know, I just feel this. I just feel this, and especially recently. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you for
Beautiful.
sharing. Thank you for being, vulnerable and beautiful. So always vulnerable and beautiful, always. Um.
Oh.
So let's talk about now. Okay.
Okay, okay.
What is
No.
what is your mission now? If you want to, like, this, you've been
Oh.
sharing this, like, but for everyone out there, I'm sure for those who don't know you yet, Rose has, a very big mission, and I will let her tell you more about it. So thank you.
uh, yeah, I feel right now what we need in the world most is connection.
Mm,
And so many of us are a little bit lost or a little bit confused or afraid with everything that is happening. And connection, first of all, with ourselves, with something bigger, and with each other. And this whole pandemic has made me connect deeper to my truth and to this feeling of this is what I'm going to bring. Like I'm going to be part of bringing that to the world even more. And yeah, this has happened because the last 6 months I was in Guatemala and Mexico, and I started offering retreats, dance and embodiment retreats, and training to work with dance and to use dance as a healing modality. So to awaken spiritually, to connect deeper to our feelings, to our heart, and to even work through trauma to some degree, because this actually happens. I don't mention it much, but this actually really happens through dance. A lot of times people think, oh, dance is just fun, but it's so deep. Like how we are in our body says so much about how we are in our life, and how we connect through our body with someone else. It just shows so much about how we relate to the other. And yeah, they say sometimes the body never lies, and that is really true. I find that really true. And what I want is to work with the body, to work with feeling, and this is what I'm doing in my therapy. I give private therapy and coaching and retreats, and it's all very body focused, very feeling focused, because I feel that that's what the world needs right now. Not so much in our head thinking about everything and understanding, And that's also the part of us that want to feel safe. You know, our mind, our ego, it needs to feel safe. So we need to understand a little bit what's going on. But right now, the focus has completely gone out of balance. It's all the focus is on the mind and on understanding and, you know, intelligence, but also only this intelligence. But there is a whole intelligence. The whole body has an intelligence, and there's so much that we cannot find out with our mind, that we can only feel through experience in our body, with our senses, with each other. And yeah, dance is also so beautiful because it's so much about expanding yourself, celebrating yourself, celebrating life, feeling the pleasure of your body, feeling your senses, feeling the stretch, the relaxation, the aliveness. And art also, you know, creating art with your story. That's also what we do through dance. We move our emotions, our feelings into movement, into a story, and we're bringing it to life, to expression. So that's what I'm super passionate about, because it's fun, it's beautiful, it's deep, it's playful, it's healing, and it's connecting us to ourselves and to each other.
Wow, amazing. I'm sure all the listeners and people who are watching us right now are so excited to meet you and to join one of your courses or retreats. So yes, Rose is creating a bunch of retreats and dance events that are happening in Europe, mainly in the Netherlands, maybe later in Ibiza or
And
Portugal. So
Mexico.
and Mexico, yes, she already did amazing events there. I remember I've seen some of the videos you've been sharing. Also, yeah, I would probably link as well the video that you've created on your retreat in Guatemala or in Mexico. Those were amazing. So once again, Rose Ayuna, please go check her out. She's full of amazing stories and
Oh.
and work. So thank you for sharing your mission. And so moving on, and this would be also very interesting for our listeners. Who are you impacting the most right now?
Mm. Well, I was for the first thing that comes up is myself.
Wow, yes. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, because I'm always looking at how I can do better and grow, you know, in a loving way, in a soft way. But yeah, I really keep myself sharp. And I
Hmm.
think that that's the only way that we can inspire others, honestly. I used to do it from a different perspective. I used to do it from, I want to change the world, I want to better the world. But who am I actually to say that something needs to be different,
Wow.
first of all? And who
So
am I to
amazing.
be so arrogant to think that I'm going to change the world?
Thank you. Thank you for that.
So now I'm a bit more humble. I'm a bit more humble, and I'm just doing me, and I'm celebrating life, and I'm sharing with the world how I live my life. And I'm like, hey guys, do you want to come join? Do you want to, you know, have a experience?
Mm,
Have an experience. That's how I would say it. I'm not here to heal people, to change lives, to change the world. I'm offering experiences where people can meet themselves, and where that's really empowerment. You know, I don't want them to feel like it's not even happening anyway, but I don't have this idea of like people come to me and then that's like I'm doing something, you know, I am changing
mm,
their lives. I'm just offering a gift that is being channeled through me. I don't even see it as mine, really. You know, like I feel that we all have this. We are all connected to something bigger, and this is what I've been working on constantly. So to open myself, to empty myself from ego and all the wants, from Rose personality, you know, like the
hmm,
this more primal need to prove and to achieve and to get somewhere. And it's still a work every day, you know, to move through that. Like now maybe sound like I'm already there, but I'm not there at all. Like I have made steps, but still, you know, I have to work to this all the time, like to be aware, to catch myself, you know, because I truly believe when I'm doing things not from my heart, like when I'm offering something and it's focused on money or on getting so many people or on, you know, kind of a little underneath thing of like, oh, this is going to make me feel like I'm good enough, because those are all in there at moments when I offer something too. That's just the truth, and I'm sure that everybody who offers something can relate to that. And I catch myself and I stop and I am like, okay, this no, I don't want to go like on this way. And it's not working anyway. Like I'm already at the
Yes.
point where life is like, if you go that way, they're just gonna block the way. It's like
Mm.
blocks are there, and it's like, okay, not no, not that way. You can just do
Mm.
you, follow your excitement. So that's what I do. I follow my excitement, and I try to do it more and more from a place of ease and relaxation, where I used to feel more this rush. Like I think a lot of people relate to that. Like I need to get somewhere, like this rush energy of like, okay, I need to have so many retreats done within the next month. I need to have, you know, my website finished, and I need to do so many sessions, you know, like this is related to me, but I'm sure other people can relate to it in a different way. And I'm trying to be more like, okay, how can I do the thing that's really needed to have enough, you know, to live off and to live the life that I want to a certain degree. And from there, like really feel what is the most exciting, what is the most aligned. And that's what I'm doing right now. And then it's more from a like breathe, breathe first and be first, and that foundation, and then the rest comes. So yeah, that's my answer.
Wow. There's so much wisdom in your words, and I hope our listeners or people who are watching are taking notes right now. I mean, I was for a second I was like, where's my notebook? I wanna write down notes. It's just everything you're sharing is full of it's full of wisdom and really a lot of lessons out there. So I'm sure, I hope everyone can relate in a way or another. And thank you again for sharing. And yes, I'm sure you are impacting so many people out there, and especially yourself. So, are you ready for the eighth question?
Yes,
This one is
totally
tough.
ready.
This always ready. I know you. So, we are all heroes. Some of us don't wear capes. Who are you a hero to, Rose?
Well, well, the first thing that comes up is again myself,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
because I saved myself from, or maybe
Hmm.
something saved me, but partly it was a choice too, you know, from a lot of suffering, a lot of struggle. And I made a choice, you know, I made a choice that I don't want to live like that. Like what I saw with my mother, how she was suffering and how she was struggling with addiction. It started really young. I had this drive, like, I'm gonna really do something different with my life. I want to, you know, really mean something. And I didn't know exactly what it's gonna be, but this feeling was, I need to be there for myself. You know, I need to do it, because nobody else is going to save me. Nobody else is going to, yeah. And it's still, I have to remind myself again and again, you know, because there are moments where I'm like, oh, maybe this friend, maybe this job, maybe this partner, they can save me from my suffering.
Wow.
Or you know, tell me the way. Sometimes I'm like, oh, please just tell me the way. I'm
Hmm.
like, you know, but every time again, it's like life tells me, like, really, you only have the answer. You only know. And it's not you as in necessarily the ego you, the mind you, like the thinking you, but like that's why I keep saying something bigger, because this is what I truly believe in and feel, that our only the answers are found there when we close our eyes, when we go and sit and feel, or when we dance, or when we are in nature and we truly listen to our heart and to something deeper. And because there's always going to be voices, you know, from your mother, your father, your grandparents, your school teacher, your you know, your neighbors, the guy in the supermarket, your friends, everybody's gonna have an opinion. It's full of it. If you're gonna look for opinions, oh, you're gonna find them everywhere. But whose ones are you gonna follow? You know? And sometimes there are moments that, yeah, we can follow others because spirit or, you know, God or like life works not only through ourselves, it also works to other people. So sometimes you, for example, send me a message, Serge, and you are in that moment, spirit talking to me. But it's really subtle to notice the difference, and it requires training to know when is it, you know, your limiting beliefs, just the things that are coming from our ancestors, that are in our DNA, that are in our cells, in our body, the beliefs that we have about how life should be. And a lot of us are connected to suffering, you know, like most of the world, we are like in this addiction to suffering, and that's what I'm trying to break with my life. And I follow people who are breaking that. So I attract people and I focus on people in my life who are breaking that cycle. And that for me are like also the heroes in my life, but it's a different question. But
Well, beautiful. Go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's like I am like, you know, I'm like a child. I focus on that. I'm like, where are the people who inspire me, who are, you know, are living this? And I find them everywhere, because when we are open to seeing, we see something. We have to open ourselves to seeing, right? I love how you always say that. It's because you can see that saying.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for singing, Rose. Thank you for singing. Thank you for being. Thank you for sharing. I mean, you know, just want to say this, like it keeps getting better since I met you and since I've known you until like this is a little bit like personal, but I just feel it keeps getting better. So thank you so much. Just want to take that moment to highlight our amazing connection and more than friendship, we are a soul family. You're my soul sister. Just yeah, so much to say. So yeah, I'm honored and touched to be with you right now. So
Mm. Receiving all the love. Wow.
I got it. Got it. So um wow, I've got one more question that you've probably answered. But if you want to like reframe it, please go ahead. So it's what would you tell the world right now? What is your message? So,
Mhm. Well, to focus on the light, to focus on the beauty that is here still every day. And to, I like to say it in a way that is positive, you know, because that's I feel the most effective. But there's just so much fear right now, and to really not listen to all the fear voices, to be compassionate, but to not listen to them, to not let them guide us, and especially to not create any more division. Because right now, there's a whole war going on. So many wars are going on, but there's a big war that's about who are you choosing, which side are you choosing, yes or no to vaccination, yes or no to mask, to the way we live. That's a big one right now. That's very visible. And to really respect each other, to because I think that's the biggest message here, that whatever you choose it for yourself. And you also said it the other day, which I really love, like you can only decide for yourself, but to also be open, you know, to be in an open heart and to see that we are all trying to do the right thing. Everybody tries to do the right thing. So try to look through the eyes of compassion and to see that we're all trying, and to be with love for our brothers and sisters, and to honor their choices, and then have open conversations, you know, from respect. Because all the rest, we created war already so many lifetimes, and maybe this is a time that we can make a different choice, and instead we go in another war. We listen to each other and we love each other even though we're different.
I'm actually totally speechless right now. For those who are not watching and they felt there's a complete silence, I was really speechless after what you just said, and and thank you. I think this is a beautiful reminder for those who forget. I mean, we do forget. We are many times vulnerable and weak and afraid and scared, and it's okay. It's okay, you know. But we are here to also remember who we are and where we're coming from, ages, generations, ancestors, lifetimes, you know? And if you look at that, what actually matters most? Like this is a question for our listeners. You know, if you really look at life in a nutshell, what really matters the most? Is it what your neighbor said yesterday? Is it what your parent, you know, said, or your partner, or your child, or the society, or the news, religion, culture? Is it really? Or is it the sound of your heartbeat and your breath to even realize how much power and how much, you know, life lies within you? So yeah, I just felt like sharing this. Thank you, Rose, for allowing me. So, moving on to our last section. Um, this is not the end, it's just our last section. It's basically, I call it the fast cues. So, fast questions, okay? And you have to answer
Okay.
in one word. I mean, you can cheat, but but okay, you are allowed to cheat. That's fine. There are no rules here, but I just want to say, like, fast cues. Number one, what is the meaning of life?
Love.
Beautiful. We are put on this earth for what reason?
To grow.
What is destiny?
Mm. Creation.
What is true happiness?
Mm. Peace inside. Cheating. I'm cheating. 2 words.
Peace within.
I would
Beautiful.
say peace. Peace.
Beautiful.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Peace. Wow. Um, what is reincarnation?
Rebirth.
Rebirth. What is true mindfulness?
Breathing.
Good one. Mm, what does it mean to be present?
Mm. Slowness.
Slowness. Love it. How would you describe God?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Wow. Thank you. You did amazing. You did
It's really
amazing.
cool. I love it.
Yeah, you did amazing.
You know,
I'm
I
so
was just
glad.
thinking that it's much easier for me to answer questions because you really inspire me right now, because sometimes I'm talking in my Instagram stories and I feel a little bit like it's so strange because I'm talking, but there's nobody asking a question, and it's much easier. Also, if I look at human design, I'm a generator and I respond to things. And I really feel it like so much easier when you ask me questions to know answer, you know, when instead of like being in front of the screen and trying to talk a story without anyone asking something. So yeah, thank you for giving me that opportunity. It was super amazing to do and beautiful, and yeah, I'm excited to watch it back also, to hear myself and to hear questions and to share it.
Wow, I'm extremely extremely honored and happy. I'm really really happy right now. Like I have to say this live. Um, I saw this coming, you know, but you can never see things exactly the way they are until they happen. They can always be better, right? So the ASOM experience is here, you know, for a big reason. There's a big cause behind, and there's a message, and we are here for each other. You know, things are not happening to us; they are happening for us. So I um I have a final bonus question. Would you, would you want it?
Sure.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So final bonus question. What question have I not asked you today?
Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay. We did ask really good questions. Yeah, like, okay. Yeah, I have one. Um, what would you, what would you, hmm, what would you ask your future self? I found one.
Wow, the future self. Okay. So so the question is yours, right?
Yeah, do you want to answer?
No, no, so basically it's you ask yourself a question that was like what would you what yeah, and
Okay.
you can deliver the answer as well, please.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I would probably say ask your higher self something that you want to know right now. So maybe, yeah, that could be anything, you know? Like anything you really want to know now. How can you connect with your higher self right now to have an answer or to feel some connection with your future self? So yeah, for me, I see this vision, you know, of a woman who's walking uh, next to the water and who's very content. And this is the answer that I'm getting. It doesn't have to be uh, something very specific, but I work a lot with this also in my sessions with visualization, and sometimes spirit talks through visions, you know. And I see this picture now of a woman who is so happy and celebrating and looking at all the flowers and seeing all the details, of the beautiful colors and the leaves and the waves. The water is very still, and it feels very like a spring energy, you know, like it's a little bit, the sun is just coming up, it's morning, and it's not too hot, but it's very nice and warm. That's the feeling I'm having. And like I have everything, this feeling of it's all here for me right now. And I feel peace and happy. And yeah, seeing this vision right now, it makes me really happy and trusting, because I feel like that shows me that I don't have to worry, you know, about anything. I don't have to figure things out. I can just keep following the little breadcrumbs that lead me to every new experience, to grow and to celebrate life, and to trust that this is also where I will be going again, you know, this state of peace and connection. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful for you being here, taking the time, opening up, showing up fully, and once again, it's an honor, and I'm extremely happy to be doing this. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for our amazing listeners, people who are watching us. You are here for a reason. And, it's amazing what you're doing. The fact that you're showing up as well and you're connecting and you're listening to amazing people sharing their stories.
Yeah.
Rose, you know, um, once again, reminder, you can find Rose on Instagram and her website, roseayuna.com, or the rose.ayuna on her Instagram. Everything will be shared in the description. ASOM
And Facebook
experience.
as well.
Yes, and Facebook as well. Wow, yes,
Same.
Facebook. Yeah, you've been on Facebook for years now, and you've been sharing for years
Yeah.
amazing articles. And yes, please. So there is there's so much value out there, and yeah, a big thank you once again. And please, as a listener, or someone who's watching, you are also welcome to share your story. So feel free to connect with
Mm,
me, a state of motivation at gmail.com, or, through our Instagram or podcast or anything, website. Please subscribe, please share. This is important for, it's not important for me as much as it's important for everyone out there who can get at least 1%, at least, out of what we share here, and it can change lives. So thank you again. I'm going to close this. And Rose,
no.
I'm giving
Yeah.
you a
Hug.
virtual hug, and thank you for being in my life. And I will see you very soon.
Yes. Thank you so much for this moment, and for giving me the space to share myself. Thank you.
Thank you. You're always welcome.